Hi there Wargamers, Dan, DeathBringa Cain here, bringing you part 4 in my little Deadzone vlog. This time we're still concentrating on the board I've been making. As you can see, it's looking a bit more, got a bit more detail on there than the basic cork tiles which you saw in before. So I've gone in a few places, I've gouged out cracks and things like that, and even pried up some up, even broken them. Where I could, as like try and point in the right place. There we go. Pulled back those two corners, but the other ones have just been done with little we've been cuts with a standing knife and been dragging it along. I've given it wetware, also a scattering of coffee grounds. It's nice and thin, so it's not going to be too high to mess around with any terrain, any scattered terrain that goes on. Put the odd gouge in here and there into the tiles to make it nice and worn, like it's had seen some action and some wear and tear. So I'm going to go. Obviously, also where you can see where it's different discoloured is I've gone over with wore down PVA on the more areas where I think it might get damaged, or where I've actually cut out the edges, because obviously I've beveled the edges of every square, and obviously of the cuts and gouges, and also I've sealed on the coffee grounds. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and spray this, and I'll be back in a bit to show you a bit more progress. Right guys, welcome back after a little bit of progress. I've picked out the rubbly bits, well, the coffee ground anyway, in like a dark grey, which is as close as I can get to Eshin grey with the craft paints I've got for the terrain, and then I'm stippling the rest with what the closest I can get to the fang, but that's requires some serious mixing, and I'm going for a stippling action for that one. So I'll try to do this a bit here, but so that's the kind of thing I'm going for. So it kind of radiates out from the middle and gets darker towards the edges. I know it's probably not strictly true how the shading's supposed to work for that kind of thing, but obviously that's wetter than the rest of it, so you get the idea. Well, obviously these are the bits where they kind of blended it in a bit, and we've got some bits over there to go. So I'm going to crack on with this, and I'll give you another little sneak peek once it's past this stage. Hi there Wargamers, back with a little bit more. I've went off and decided to do all the board and made myself a bit of a wash. I followed the terrain shooter's instructions on how to make some wash. I've got some medium, and there's some flow improver knocking around. So I made myself some brown washes and some black washes to do it off. And the black wash worked a treat. As you can tell, it's pretty much black now. The brown wash, it could have been how I applied it. To be honest, the grey was probably still wet, so it's probably my fault with that one. But it's looking a bit more. I decided the mixing wasn't going well because, well, to be honest, I was running out of the grey in my craft paints. So I decided to go to my to B&Q and get some paints mixed to the colours I actually wanted. So I did some little paint swashes and took that with me and got some paints mixed. I obviously painted the lid so I can tell which is which, easy glance. And I'm going to crack on with this, and I'll be back in a second with do a bit more, and I'll show you a bit of progress. Right guys, I've just managed to get myself a nice dry brush of the Fang substitute. Looking quite good. I'm going to go over it with a highlight now. It's starting to blend in, so they're not getting quite so stark piles of rubble, so I'm purposely going over these rubble piles a bit with the Fang to try and blend them in so they're not quite popping out quite so much. Okay guys, I'm going to try and brighten up a little bit more, and then we'll be back in a second to show you the results. Right then, Deadzone next part in 5, 4, 3. Right guys, I've finished 2 more stages. I've given the entire base a nice dry brush with the Fang substitute, and started to pick out the rubble sections with that Celestial Grey substitute. Excuse me. I'm now just going to hit the entire board with a very, very light white dry brush, which will blend all this together. Hopefully, also, but we'll find out in a minute, guys. So, fingers crossed that this will work. Back in a bit. Right, guys, I've got the white dry brush on. Worked quite well, I think. There's a bit of areas where I think I went a bit too heavy, but that's going to get all taken care of in the wash, which will sort all these little blemishes out where it's just picked up a little bit too much. But we'll give it a bit of black wash now, and we'll see how that goes after it dries. Okay, guys, back in a bit. Right, welcome back, guys. The wash is dried. I've even started on the odd bit of blood from with the technical paint, blood glob. Just stippled a few bits on there. Spud pestered me and say, "Why didn't you put some blood on the board?" So there we go, Spud. Blood on the board. Anyway, normally on the bases I do another final little dry brush of white, but I figured it's already quite bright and my wash isn't quite as darkened as I'd like, so the tiles are quite a lot lighter than the bases. Not the end of the world, but I figured no more lighting up, and I think I might even go for another layer of black. Time will tell. See how I feel like, guys. Anyway, I'm going to do the odd bit of detail here and there, probably to get some typhus corrosion and probably some oil or something like that. Just anyway, I'll see what we'll do. I'll have some little play and I'll be back in a bit. Right, guys, I finally finished adding little details here and there. I decided not to go for a black wash, considered that I'd have to redo all the blood that I'd put on before. I'd chosen three little detailing little things things that I said detailing, things to mess up the board a bit, to make it not so clean. So I've gone for some AK Interactive engine oil, typhus corrosion. I didn't like how it looked in the end, so they did the one patch. Same goes for the engine grime. The main reason for this is because, excuse me, even though when it was dry, it still needed sealing, and I didn't want to gloss. I had to gloss. My matte wasn't working. Matte varnish wasn't working. Just stop it being sticky. So I had to gloss it and then matte it back. And I don't know if I lost part. Oh, tell you what, let's show you what I'm looking at. I don't know if I lost part of the detail of what it should have looked like. The engine oil, I put a few different patches on, similar fashion to the way I did the blood, by just stippling it up with a really stiff brush. So yeah, there you go then. So that's the finished product. I'm quite pleased with it. I'm just going to throw some Deadzone buildings on so you can get an idea what it looks like with some terrain on. So 2 ticks, and we'll be back in a second. Right, guys. Stuck a bit of terrain on the board, similar fashion to what was used, the setup I used to play some games when Spud and my friend Adam came round. We had some good games. Adam's vermin were, well, they were a tricky one to use, I'd say. I used Plague and managed to overwhelm me quite easily, and the rats didn't seem to stand up very well to the other forces. So anyway, less about that, more about the terrain. Still had some enjoyable games, even if the rats did get a pasting. Spud's Enforcers looked rather nice as well. So I'm sure he took quite a few pictures, and you've probably seen him on Facebook a few days ago. So guys, I'm going to go away and take a few stills of this so you can get some better shots of the terrain now it's all painted, and you'll see that in a second. Okay guys, let's cue the music.